नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Welcome all of you to our Bhagavad Gita daily reading session. We are now reading chapter 2. Thank you very much for your enthusiastic participation. In chapter 2, we have finished discussing 2.1. Now yesterday we discussed verse number 2. So verse number 2, we only could discuss the synonyms and translation, but we are yet to enter into the purport. So let us have a quick recap. What all happened until now? In chapter 1, Arjuna has given various reasons, importantly 4 reasons, that is compassion, then no enjoyment, then fear of sinful reaction, then destruction of family tradition. After giving all these arguments, and he has lost his composure, and with deep lamentation, casting aside his bow, he has sat down in the chariot. Visrijya sasarang chapam shoka sambigna manasa. That's how it ended. And hearing this, Dhritarashtra became very joyful. But then immediately Sanjay could understand his heart, and then Sanjay told, "Oh, Dhritarashtra, film has not ended yet. Now Krishna is going to speak to Arjuna, and Krishna is going to enlighten Arjuna and will reinstate him in his original state and will remove his lamentations, confusions, and everything." So he started speaking, Sanjay. So in verse 1, we saw that tam tatha kripayavistam asrupurna kulekshanam visidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. Uvacha madhusudana, Krishna has spoken. But 3 things are very important here. One is kripaya, then asru, and then visada. These things Prabhupada is telling, compassion, lamentation, tears, they are ignorance. Whoever who is ignorant, he will be attacked by all these 3. But who has the knowledge on real self, he will not be suffering from this. So, and we saw that how compassion towards the real drowning man is more sensible than the compassion to the dress. And yeah, so this is one beautiful thing we learned in verse number 1. And then in verse number 2, what Krishna is speaking? Krishna has started the conversation in chastising Arjuna. Kutastva kasmalamidam visame samupastitam anaryajustam asurgyam akirtikaram Arjuna. Krishna is telling, neither this is an act of Arya. This is anarya justam. Neither it will promote you to heavenly planet or Swarga, and neither it will bring any fame to you. Akirtikaram, it will bring infamy. So why? Where from this mentality come upon you, Arjuna? Where from this dirtiness come upon you? These are impurities, Kasmalam. Malam, we know that is impurity. And especially in this hour of crisis, Bisame, this is not a ordinary moment. This is a very critical moment. War is going to begin now. Your enemies are ready to fight at any moment. You can let down your life. This is a question of life and death. So at this moment, these things are coming to your mind, these confusions. So certainly this is not the act of a Arya. And we saw the practical lessons. If we have invested in some relationship, because our intention is good, we can chastise someone, but then the other person really gets it. He doesn't take it as a chastisement. He clearly understands it, like in the case of Arjun. But if we have not invested much in the relationship, and either we are not sure, okay, if there is a tinge of doubt, then better we should maintain the austerity of speech. What Krishna is going to speak in chapter 17, Anudvaiga Karambhakyam Satyam Priyam Hitam Chayat Swadhyaya Vyasanam Chaiva Vangmayam Tapauchyate. If you can practice this only one verse in your life, many of your problems will be solved. Just read this verse, remember this verse 17.15, and try to practice. You see what transformation it brings in your life. Okay, so let us see what has been written in purport. Purport. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. So Krishna is the Bhagavan. Krishna is the Bhagavan. They are not different. It's not that Bhagavan has manufactured Krishna. No, there is no anyone who has manufactured Krishna. Krishna is self-manifested. And he is the cause of all manifestation. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. Absolute truth, the Sampurna Satya, because there is no any falsity in that personality. He is absolute. Suppose, for example, anything you see in this world, there is falsity in it. Relatively, everything is decaying. If whatever time factor is destroying everything, so that means in a moment, whatever you saw, in the next second it is changing. We may not notice. This might be our incapability, but we know that passing every moment, everything is decaying. So how come they are called absolute truth? They may be true in some sense, but not the absolute truth. The absolute truth, something who is completely unaffected by the time factor. You see, when Krishna descends, when he was in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was 125 years old. So it is not that his hairs have turned grey and he has developed some white mustache or beard, or it's not that his skins were squeezed or there is wrinkle in his forehead. No, as such. He was looking like as charming as a 25-year-old youth. So this is Krishna. Have you seen any time Krishna crying? No. Any photo, have you seen Krishna crying? Oh, if Krishna will cry, then it is to give his devotees pleasure, not for that he is crying. Sometimes you see that in front of Yashoda Maya he cries. And if you really scrutinizing the life of Krishna, there is a lot of hardship. A fraction of these hardships we are not even facing in our life. But it appears to be very big for us. Oh, sometimes we criticize the Lord. Oh, my Lord, why you are so heartless and you provide so many obstacles in my life. But you see, his life, when he appeared in this earth, he could have chosen a very lavish and very opulent life. But no, every time, every moment, he was filled with challenge. And you see, when we may be very good, but when many people are not able to notice our great nature, that used to bring many frustration in us. Oh, why I am so good? You see, that person is talking so much bad or evil things about me. I am not even thinking any bad about him. Uh, uh, of course, in this material world, it is not possible for anyone to be perfect. But you see, Krishna is perfect. Even though Krishna is perfect, many people at his time were criticizing him. Yeah. And were having malice intent towards him, having envy towards him. But is it bothering Krishna at any moment? No. So the same also mentality we should cultivate. How does it matter if someone is criticizing, someone is not able to notice your great qualities? Doesn't matter. What you are, you are. You remain the same. It doesn't depend upon other person. If you appreciate, your good quality will improve, or if you chastise, your good quality will reduce. No, basically, if at all it is reducing or deteriorating, it is because of you, because you kind of have constructed, some mental construct, and by that you are ruining yourself. So this also we should keep it in mind. How come when Krishna is, in his moment, in his pastimes, at every moment, it is filled with a lot of life lessons to us. you know. And we, with deep love, when we make him as our role model in terms of his life's teaching, not that what he does. He goes and still dresses up the young gopis. We should not do this act. Okay, no? For Krishna, everything is perfect. Okay? We should not imitate his activities, but we should understand, what is the life lesson he is giving through his activity. That should be learned. And when we fall in love with someone, uh, that person will definitely inspire us, without our attempt even. So similarly, Krishna is the absolute truth. There is no falsity in him. If we started appreciating him and we fall in deep love with him, then good qualities are bound to manifest in us. There is no question of that. Here, Srila Prabhupada explaining further, the absolute truth can be realized in many different ways. Here Bhagavatam speaks, um, it can be experienced in three different ways. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit. This is one realization. This is Brahman, and this is the lower level of realization. Then, if the person further advances, he have this Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities. That is the next step of realization. And when the transcendentalist advances further, then he will have Bhagavan realization. And the Bhagavan or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So does it mean that Brahman realization is realizing someone else? No. It's the same Supreme Absolute Truth can be realized in three different levels. For example, let us take an example of a train. Think of uh, a person who has not seen the train at all in his life. Then he is standing at the platform. At certain distance, very far away, he noticed some light. Then he will conceptualize that, hey, some big light is approaching towards me. And that's not wrong. In fact, yes, a big light is approaching towards him because he sees the headlight of the train. And it is so powerful that he can see only the light, not the train, because train is black in color. And and let's assume that it's the night time. Yeah. And he could only see the light. But is it only light what he is seeing? Of course, he is seeing the only light, but is it only light? No. It is train, complete train, but he is not able to see. He is not able to perceive. So some features of this train he is able to perceive. And then you see, when train further approaches, that light further comes near, he will start visualizing and the bogies, Oh, it's not only light, it's an object having a headlight. It has some form. So, but then, so that is the Paramatma realization, the second step of realization. Okay. The first, the light, that is Brahman realization or the impersonal, all pervasive spirit. Impersonal, why it is impersonal? Because the person is seeing only light. Light is not having any personality. He doesn't conceptualize that it's an object. It's just a light. So similarly, Brahman aspect has no personality. And people think that it is impersonal. It's just diffusion of light. And the second, in the Paramatma realization, when train comes near, he saw, oh, it's an object. It's not only light. Light is a part in it. And that is called Paramatma realization. Okay. And when, but then is the train only this? No. When train further comes and stand in front of him, and then he enters into it. He develops a relationship with the train. And he experiences what service train can provide to him, what facilities train can provide to him. He can get into the bogie, he can sit in comfortable seat, he can turn on the AC, he can switch off the fan, he can order some meals, and by this train he can travel to some other distance. So that is the Bhagavan realization, where it's a complete understanding of the absolute truth, and he is able to understand the complete personality of the absolute truth. So that is Bhagavan realization. Whereas in localized Paramatma realization, that is not impersonal. He saw that it's having some personality, but then he's not able to conceptualize, oh, there are seats inside, there are so many services available. He's not able to understand that. So that's the reason relationship is not very strong. But in Bhagavan realization, the relationship is very strong. So who is having all these different level of realization? So this transcendentalist who are endeavoring to know the absolute truth, the one who has realized the Brahman aspect or who is inspired to realize the Brahman aspect, he's called Jnani. He's called Jnani. So basically, he tried to understand the absolute truth by reading the Upanishad, mostly the Upanishads. Okay, and then the Paramatma, who is aspiring to realize the Paramatma, these are the yogis who meditate on the Paramatma feature of the Lord in their heart. So that is yogis, Ashtanga yogis, who are meditating on it. But then who has the realization of Bhagavan? This is Bhakta, the devotees, who wants to have a personal exchange with the Lord face to face. So these are the devotees, and they have great faith on the deity form of the Supreme Lord also. They used to have personal exchange with the deity. Krishna, through his compassion, ultimate compassion, has manifested him in most loving and beautiful deity form in the temple. And this deity is not other than Krishna, because when the two Brahmins, the older Brahmin give promise to the poor Brahmana in front of Gopal deity, and Gopal could, that is a story of Sakshi Gopal, and later when the old Brahmin, teased and teased the poor Brahmana, then poor Brahmana requested the Gopal deity, and Gopal deity reciprocated. Even he walked along with him to the southern India, to Vidyadhar village. So how come a deity can work? And we have seen many instances where deity is speaking. So Pratima Nahi Tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandana. That is the faith of a devotee unto the deity form of the Lord. It could be a simple picture, or a stone, or some kind of decorated, beautiful deity, wooden form or metal form or whatever form. Then the devotee have ultimate faith in him, and he thinks that Pratima Nahi Tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. Oh my dear Krishna, you please accept my bhoga. Please accept my bhoga. I know you can manifest yourself in this. Okay, so these three aspects are spoken in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11. Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdyate. That supreme absolute truth, sabdyate, in three types: brahmeti, brahman iti, and paramatma iti, paramatmeti, and bhagavan iti. And this tattvam, tattva, tat means that, tat means that in Sanskrit. That, it refers to whom? That absolute truth. That tattvam, hum bolte na tattvam. Tattva means the, in essence. That supreme absolute truth, the knowledge about that absolute truth, jnanam, yat jnanam, about that supreme absolute truth is advayam, is non-different. So that means this Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, they are referring to the same personality. It is non-dual. Advayam, it is only the same person. Who tells this? Vadanti, Vadanti tat tattvavidas, those seers of the truth, who have seen the truth, who have realized the truth, who have experienced this truth, who are implementing this in their life, that tattvavidas, they vadanti. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sun sign, the sun surface, and the sun planet itself. Like we have taken the example of train, this also Srila Prabhupada here has explained in the example of sun. So in case of sun, we see the sun shines, and when the sunshine is so bright, when we look at the sun, we are hardly able to notice the sun disk, and but we are able to experience the sunshine, the heat, the light. So that is what Brahman realized. Then at lighter situation, during the dawn or in the morning, early morning, we could able to see the disk, because that time the sunshine is not so bright. So we could experience that, oh, the light is actually coming from this disk, So that disk is the Paramatma realization. Okay. But then there is someone inside the planet, inside that disk, that is the sun god. So understanding that sun planet, and it's not only a surface, it's a planet in itself. Many other things also exist inside this. So this is not only a surface or a disk, it's actually a planet. It's so massive. It's almost that is the 99% of our solar system. It's huge. So that kind of conception of the sun planet used to have. So that is the Bhagavan realization. In greater detail about it. One who studies the sunshine only is the primary student. One who understands the sun surface is further advanced. And one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest understand. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to the knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or the transcendentalists who have realized the Brahman feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists. Although all students who are engaged in the study of absolute truth are engaged in the same object matter, are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another. And yet, the students of the three different phases are not in the same category. It's very clear, They are not in the same level, although it refers to the same person or the same subject, same subject matter. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by the great authority Parasar Muni, the father of Vyasadeva, the Supreme Personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagavan. Like Vidyavan, who has Vidya, he is Vidyavan. Who has Dhana, he is Dhanavan. Wealth in a greater amount. Knowledge is, the amount of knowledge is huge, and she is very knowledgeable. So then we call him Jnanavan, Vidyavan, Dhanavan. So similarly, who has Bhaga, he is Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulences, samriddhi. This is like wealth. This could be like power. This could be like fame. This could be like beauty. And this could be like knowledge. This could be like renunciation. Habit of renunciation. So all these are opulences of one person. And everyone is aspiring to have one or the other, and wants to always maximize. That's the nature. We all appreciate these things. So think of the personality who has all these in full, not in partial, in full. who is rich in full, that means who has all the wealth, who is very, very powerful in his strength, and he's in full of strength, then same fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation. So that person is called Bhagavan. And then you see, he's not an ordinary person. Parasara Muni says, what he says? In a verse of Vishnu Purana, he says, you see, it is not listed here. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasasahasriyaha jnana vairagya yasyaiva sanam bhaga itinyam. This is the translation. Aishwaryasya samagrasya, all riches. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya, virya, strength. Yasaha means fame. Sri means beauty. Okay, yasasaha, viryaha, yasasasya, jnana vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. Jnana vairagyas yaschaiva sanam, there are six. Sanam iti bhagan jnana. These opulences are six in time. These are the primary ones. So there are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, and very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached. But no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strengths, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this, because he is the personality, he is the supreme personality of God. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or even Narayan, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita by the Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. Asama urdha. Nobody is equal or higher than him. Asamurdha. His another name is Asamurdha. Nobody is equal or better to him. He is primeval Lord. Means he is the beginning, primeval, or Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. So what is the pramana? Brahma Samhita. In Brahma Samhita, it's a Vedic literature. Lord Brahma declares this: Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. And who has no cause? That means whatever we see in this world, everything has some cause or origin. But Krishna has no origin. He is the origin in himself, and he is the cause of his cause. Nobody causes him. That means nobody gives birth to him. Anadir Adir Govinda. Adi means the beginning. Anadir means who has no beginning. He is the beginning of everyone, and who has no beginning. That is Govinda. Govinda, you already know the meaning, that who gives pleasure to cows and senses. That is Govinda. Bindayanti, go. Go means senses or cows. So, but this Krishna, who is he? He is Krishna, Paramaha Ishvara. He is the Paramaha Ishvara. He is the supreme controller. There might be many Ishvara. You could be also, in a sense, Ishvara, because you have some control over somebody. So you are Ishvara of him or her. But Krishna is the Parama Ishvara. He is the supreme. There is nobody beyond him, or nobody is controlling him. And who is he? Some light or some reflection in our heart, or what is he actually? Actually, he is having form. It's not the formless. He is Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is made of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. And Vigraha means form. Okay, so basically this purport is very powerful and very full up with many stuffs. We are unpacking it, so it's taking a little bit of more time. Although we have not finished this purport today, but I hope we have drawn some essential learning out of it. We will tomorrow continue the same purport, and this is little longer purport. So, but we have to understand it line by line, scrutinizing it. So I am not in a hurry. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
बाकी
Hare
जय हो,
Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
Thank you all very much.